Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about the whole 5 heaping books that I read for the month of September. So let's jump in. It might not have been a great amount of reading that I did, but the books that I did read were just top notch for me. I enjoyed each one of them, and I even have 2 5-star books for the month of September, so very happy with my reading. Let's start off with a bang, and let's start off with one of the books that was 5 stars. Like, this is how my month started, with Dead 11. I absolutely adored this book, like loved it so much. It was so atmospheric, and every time I think about this book, it's like it takes me back to that feeling that I felt while I was reading this. So in this book, we are following Harper, and he is searching for his sister. His sister Willow has gone missing. Well, he doesn't know if she's missing. He just hasn't heard from her. He knows that she went to this island, Clifford Island, but he doesn't know much more after that. Now, Willow, she's married. Her and her husband, they have a son. They end up losing their son. And so this sort of drives a wedge in the marriage, obviously, as it usually does. One day, Willow comes across something in her son's room that leads her to Clifford Island. And so she decides to move over there to look for answers, not for questions. She has the questions. She's going to look for answers, and you know that there are times where she writes to her husband, so there's like almost like a trail that her brother is able to follow to find her. While on this island, Willow is just noticing different things. They seem to be stuck in 1994. One of the things that Willow notices is the watching of the O.J. Simpson ordeal that happened back in 1994. She sees people kind of replaying this day after day. She sees a lot of ritualistic things, just weird things going on. And little by little, she uncovers whatever it is that she's going to look for. So now we're following Harper, and we're trying to figure out, listen, what happened to Willow? And so there's different timelines in the book. It was super interesting reading this because of the format, because of the stories within. I was sort of at the beginning kind of lost, but in the best way possible. I was enjoying it because it was creepy. It was atmospheric. I love the writing in this so much. It kept me engaged, and this was just overall a fantastic story. I love the characters, the detailing, and like I said, I really enjoyed the flow of the timeline with all these different cases, or not different cases, but different characters and different sets. Let's say it's almost like different settings within this town, but loved it so much. I would definitely love to reread this book in a few years, because I'm still thinking about it. It's the middle of October, and I'm still thinking about this book. From a 5-star to a 4-star, Whfall. This was a surprising read for me, and I'm so excited that I'm sitting here saying, hey, I read a new release book that was one of my most anticipated reads. I did it on time. Was it really on time? I don't think so, but I loved this so much. There's this phenomena that happens with me with Daniel Cross where the only time that it didn't happen was in Night of the Living Dead. Is that the name of the zombie book? I get them so mixed up with that he co-wrote with, or that he finished off for Romero. And so it didn't happen to me with that one. And honestly, I couldn't really tell his writing in that book from the other one, or maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I did try to read one of his other books, and I actually DNF'd it. I almost DNF'd this one too, almost, but I'm so glad I didn't, because there comes this time where I don't feel connected to the story or the characters, and it has a little bit to do with his writing. But let me tell you, there was a point that I got to this book that I realized how invested I was in this character, because we are just following this one character the whole entire book, and it is a roller coaster of emotions that sort of hit me out of the blues. I didn't even know that I was feeling all these emotions. This follows a son. I'm not gonna look for the name. I can't remember what his name is, but he is looking for answers. His dad has died, and there's just been a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of trauma. It's like a father-son kind of relationship. He goes to look for answers. He goes on a dive, and he gets swallowed by a whale. And the whole book, it's just him in this whale, Number one, trying to survive, two, trying to get out, and three, trying to work through his trauma that he has with his dad. He has so much hurt and so much to say to his dad, and he just goes on this journey. But wow, half of this is very, very sad. Such a deep book. I cried so hard in one of the moments. And that's when I knew that I absolutely loved this book, when I cried. But it was an incredible journey. If you haven't read this, I highly recommend it. I know that it's like Whfall and Ocean, and I did read it in the summer, but this is like a book that you could read any time of year because we're inside of a whale the whole entire time. Well, for the most part, we're inside a whale. So it's very season friendly. I don't know if I'm doing the book justice at all, honestly. So maybe I should just remove this one. We're going into another 5-star read, The September House. Another book that made me cry. I guess this was the month that I was just gonna read parental and children bad relationships. In Whfall, we had a son and father messed up relationship, and in The September House, we have a mother and daughter relationship, but it's more like a whole family relationship. But for the majority of the book, we do get a child messed up relationship with their parents. It's both of their parents, but we do see on page the mother and the daughter most of the time. But anyways, we're following Margaret, her daughter Catherine, and then her husband. I can't remember her husband's name right now, and I don't feel like looking again. But Margaret and I think it's Hal. I think her husband's name is Hal. Their daughter is in college. She is away, and here we have the two parents are empty nesters now, and they find the home of their dreams. This like large Victorian home. The price is right. They can't believe it. They move in. They are ecstatic. But as soon as they move in, well, maybe not as soon as they move in, but when September hits, the house wakes up. It's haunted and shit is happening, okay? We got blood dripping from the walls. We have ghosts walking around. We have just this moaning and screaming that just intensifies through the month. It is just insane in there. And listen, if that happens to me, good riddance, goodbye. But Margaret is like, no. This is my house. I love this house. We're staying and we're gonna beat this. We can coexist is basically what she's almost saying. But after 4 years in the house, the husband is like, I'm done with this. We are done with this. I'm leaving. Are you leaving with me or not? And guess what? She's like, toodles, bitch. She lets him leave. And so after the husband leaves, the mother is sort of, or the wife can sort of hide it for a little bit. But after a while, the daughter is like, listen, I've been trying to call dad for a while now to his cell phone. He doesn't answer me back. Every time I talk to you, it's sort of like he's doing something and he can't come to the phone. What is going on? So the daughter gets so like worried that she ends up coming to the house, which Margaret does not want because again, this house is haunted, and she's coming right in the month that everything is going berserk. It was so good. I cried with this book, with the mother as well. I felt so frustrated as well. I felt like it had the perfect kind of pacing. I really loved the characters and their development. Even though there wasn't like a long span of the characters, I did like the development and how we ended up to our last and final scene, which to me was chef's kiss. This is another book that had me worried in the direction that it was going because for a minute there I was like, oh no, please, let's not do that. But luckily the outcome was just perfection. I loved it so much. I love it even more that number one, I buddy read this with my Virgo buddy, Tali. She is a Virgo just like me. And we both our tastes are so similar. We both love books that have houses on the cover. And this was just like the perfect book to buddy read with her. So it was just a fun time. This cover just does something to me. 5 freaking stars. If you've read this book, let's talk about it without spoilers, please, in the comment section below. If you want to talk spoilers, I am always available on Instagram. It might take me a little bit to respond, but if you want to talk spoilers on this book, head over to Instagram and DM me. And if you haven't read this and you like haunted house books, which I don't, mind you, I think this one would be a great one for you. Let me know if this is on your TBR if you haven't read it. So for the month of September, I was one of the co-hosts for the book troupe that is ran by Gabby from Gabby Reads. It was me, Ashley from Ashley's Little Library, and obviously Gabby, she's the host. And first off, I did such a poor job of like promoting it or talking about it because my September TBR came and went and I forgot to mention it on there. It literally slipped my mind, and I ended up reading the book like the day before the live show. I'm such a mess, but I'm so glad that I read the book and that Gabby invited me. And I was such a mess and I was so unorganized for the month, but I got to it and I ended up loving it. Gabby and Ashley did not like it. They both gave it 2 stars. And the book was Good Bad Girl. This was not on my TBR until Gabby asked me, obviously, to co-host with her. I'm gonna link in the cards and in the description box below. I'm gonna link the live show if you wanna go watch it. I'm sure you have watched it already because I'm sure you follow Gabby. But if you don't, by miracle that you don't, I'm gonna leave it down below so you can go, because obviously I talk about it on the live. There's this baby that's robbed 20 years ago, and then we go into this storyline and there's like all these characters. We have this mother, I can't remember her name, but she is she's 86 years old and she's sort of forced into this home. She was my favorite character. I wish we would have seen more of her. We have Patience that works at this home and sort of has this relationship with this old woman. Again, I can't remember her name. And then we have the woman's kids. Cleo, I think is the daughter's name, really doesn't have a relationship with the mom. The mom, she's actually in the home because of the daughter Cleo. And then there's like all these characters, and there's the overall mystery of this baby going missing or being stolen 20 years ago and getting to the resolution of it all. So very confusing at times. It was very all over the place. We have a lot of repetitiveness in the book, but I enjoyed it. I liked the pacing of it. I liked the mystery behind it. I was clueless to what was going on for the majority of it. Like, I wasn't trying to figure anything out. There were a few things that were predictable. Again, go watch that video, because honestly, even though I did enjoy this book and I did give it 4 stars, it is a bit forgettable. Is that going to affect my rating? Am I going to change my rating because of that? Definitely not, because I remember enjoying it. Let me know in the comment section. This is another one you got to let me know about. If you've read it, did you love it or did you hate it? Because I mean, I didn't like love it 5 stars, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm going to stop talking about it because I feel like if I didn't make sense for Whfall, that was such a simple plot line and I had a hard time explaining. This one, it's just a lost cause at this point. And then I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I actually read 4 books, and this 5th book, I technically finished it October 1st, but it was like 20 pages in October 1st. So I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna put it for September, because I actually did read the majority, 95%, 98% of the book.
Math, what is that?
I read in September. So The Lake House. This is the book that got the lowest rating of the month, but that does not mean that I didn't enjoy it. I gave this book 3 stars. I thought this was gonna be a 5-star read. This cover really, really just took my heart. And honestly, sitting here thinking about it is a pretty forgettable book. Here we are following these 3 girls, and they are being dropped off at this summer camp, or this lake house basically, for the summer. And they're being dropped off on this little boat. They're dropped off, the guy leaves. But when they start walking into the island or wherever it is that they are, and they come upon the lake house, it is burned down and they are left stranded there by themselves. It is like action-packed from the get, because these girls are left there and then they discover a dead body there. But the body was not dead because of the fire. So they're like, oh my gosh, there's a murderer here on this island. And they start being pursued or hunted, if you will. And the pacing was just so good. The creepy factor was there. I really enjoyed the friendship that these 3 girls create while they're there on this island, and how they all just seem to like trust in one another. But towards the end, it just missed the mark for me. There was something missing there. Some of the intensity dies down. but nonetheless, I still did enjoy the relationships. I enjoyed the setting a lot. I just think that the plot line needed a little bit more work, or a little bit more oomph towards the end. I feel like we got everything at the beginning, and then towards the end it just sort of dies down. Also, this was pretty forgettable because when I started talking about it, I had to go back and read the synopsis to sort of bring things back to the memory for me. So 3 stars, not the worst, but not the best. So that's it, you guys. Those are all the books that I read for the month of September. Let me know what you read for the month of September. Did you have a book that you loved? Did you have a favorite book of the month? Did you DNF anything? I always forget to add my DNFs and my monthly wrap-ups, but if you want to talk about them, let's talk about them. Let's chat books in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.